Hey guys, welcome once again to the DJ Talk Show. This is George, and I have my returning champion, DJ Decade.
What's up, buddy?
Decade, you're the only one that speaks to me, by the way.
I guess so.
Yeah, I have no friends. I have no
I guess
friends.
not. I saw you posted that you're looking for a co-host and nobody applied.
Nobody wants to be on the show, so I'm going to start off the show by
Well, your buddy's on the show though.
who's that?
Your pink bunny's on the show.
Yeah, well, he's the trademark. Yeah, he's
Yeah,
always
exactly.
there. Yeah, he's always there. I'm going to start the show by letting people know if you guys want to be on the show, hit me up. Wherever you see this, just, you know what, leave it on the comment. Say, hey, I want to be on the show. I have stuff to talk about. So today's topic is going to be about the Denon Prime 4 controller. I saw it. You brought it over because you needed me to do a case mod for you, and they
Which
did.
was awesome. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
They're very welcome. I took it out of the coffin, and the thing's a beast. I mean, it's a little heavy, but it's not. It's heavy because it's all metal.
Yes.
So the whole faceplate is metal. The bottom is metal. It
It's
is
22 pounds.
22 pounds. It's an amazing product. Denon, hats off to you, man. You guys are doing stuff the right way. But I do have a couple of things
Mm-hmm.
that I see that's a problem.
Okay.
And so, Decade, you've used Tractor, you've used Serato, you've used multiple type of controllers,
Mm-hmm.
and your latest and greatest is now the Prime 4.
Correct.
Why did you buy it?
One, because of the build quality. Two, the sound output is just second to none. And I believe Pioneer is on his way out. Not on his way out, not gonna die, but I think Denon has a notch on Pioneer and is always innovative, always trying different stuff, trying different things, and even at NAM, I mean they were the number one product for innovative stuff and just coming out with new stuff like the Prime Go, for instance, the battery powered controller, and also the Prime 2, which is the baby of the Prime 4. So it's got what I also liked about it is because it has everything is XLR. There's no RCA. There's no nothing. Everything is XLR, which is
Right.
great. Because you don't have to bring 20 different cables. Quarter inch for this, RCA for that. Everything's XLR, so it's great. Instead of having 50,000 cables,
Right.
now you have
You just
one.
carry XLRs and you're good to go.
Exactly.
Okay. But that's not the only reason you bought it for.
No, I also bought it because I didn't want to use my laptop.
You don't want to use your laptop. Okay. So a couple of years ago, John and we were talking about whenever they make a controller that has a built-in hard drive, I think
Mhm.
that's going to be kind of like the new future going forward, where we
Correct.
don't have to buy a very expensive laptop in order to control or to basically house the MP3 files or your video files and have a specific software that you run. And, like if you're using a MacBook Pro, you're going to spend, $2,600 on a computer that's super, super powerful just to hold MP3s and to run a software that could run on a watch.
Right.
So you're not using the built in software.
Well,
What are you
when I bought the
using?
Prime, what I brought the Prime for, my intention is to import my Serato library into Engine,
Okay.
which is what Denon software is. I started trying to import my library for my Serato crates and everything into Engine, and I had nothing but problems.
Okay.
It kept crashing on me. Then I would redo everything, and I would do one crate at a time. One crate would load, another crate would load. It would load for a while. Then I would put like a little bigger crate inside of it, and then let it run, and it crashed.
Hmm.
It didn't give me an error message, didn't tell me why, didn't tell me this and that. But the issue I have is that Rekordbox, which is a fairly new software, I mean, it's been out a couple of years, but it's fairly new, works natively with this Prime 4.
Hmm.
So why wouldn't they put Serato and make it you can use any software on this controller instead of just having Rekordbox, which because Rekordbox sort of mimics Engine
Right.
and on software. So it's just pretty much the same uh, same makeup. The
Right.
framework is the same of engine to record box.
Right. There's another DJ friend of ours that also has a Prime 4, and he is also not using the engine software built in. He does
Correct.
have the music loaded in the engine Prime 4 engine thing, whatever you want to call
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
Basically, he
He
has
has
all
it. He has an internal hard drive
right. He has it all in there.
that he put inside the Prime 4, which has most of his music
Right.
for
Now, but
backup
he
in case the computer goes. He's got a backup source to have the music from the Prime 4.
correct, but he's still using a laptop,
Correct, with Serato.
which to
Correct.
me defeats the purpose of buying the controller.
Yes, I
So
agree, but
so
I
so
believe
this controller came out in March 2019. So
correct.
almost a year old, almost.
Almost right.
The last revision that they had for Prime 4 was in October 2019.
Correct.
Now, they did have several versions or increment versions coming up. They had, I think, like two or three releases. Um, but this is the problem that I'm having with these companies. Their hardware is good, their software is lacking, and it's not ready for public use,
Correct.
because you, as a professional DJ buying a very expensive controller, you should not have an issue importing your library. Now
Exactly.
you could have a corrupted file, and maybe that's what's causing the issue. But all of these things should be addressed by the software, and the
I
software needs
agree.
to be smart enough to say, okay, before we import your library, I'm going to read the library, and if I have a problem with a file that's in your library, I should say, hey, Mr. DJ, you have this file located in this folder that we can't open, or it's corrupted and we can't put it in your library.
Right.
That would make sense.
I
So
agree.
hear me out. This is not towards you now. This is towards Denon, Serato, any software maker out there. Guys, get a hold of me, George at 360mix.com. Let me beta test your software. You don't know how many bugs I find in all these softwares that could be done or fixed before it's even released. Okay, I don't know who you have as a beta tester, but put me in as a beta tester, because I have, for Serato, I have a whole bunch of features that need to be in there that should have been there 20 years ago, and they still don't have them. And Denon, this is now towards Denon DJ. You know that Pioneer is the king of the market back from the early days. You guys try to come up with neat controllers with the spinning platters and all that stuff, and you thought you were going to hit the club space. It didn't happen to you. Pioneer regained again, or never really went anywhere, and now you guys are somewhat ahead of Pioneer. Denon is ahead of Pioneer in some cases,
Mm-hmm.
but your software is lacking.
Yes.
So I don't know who you have in corporate out there. Get those damn programmers to fix this software, so DJs like Decade and other DJs that are using Prime 4 are not having the problem. Now, I'm not saying that every single DJ that's using Prime is having a problem, or Prime Engine is having a problem, but the only two DJs that I know that have the Prime 4 have issues with the controller. So to me, that's 100% of the products that are out there,
Well,
that
not
at
with the
least that
controller,
I
with the
know,
software. Not with the controller, with the software.
with the software. But
Right.
what's the point? I mean, you could have used the same controller. I mean, you could have continued using what you were using before,
Right.
because technically you're not using the features it has.
Correct.
The other thing I found out, it doesn't have a sampler.
No.
Are we not in 2020?
Yeah.
Why isn't there a sampler built into this thing?
Not sure. But talking about software, here's a good scenario is because as you know that I've gone from Tractor to Serato to back and forth, and when I started with Serato, when I had a lot of problems, with the crashing, this and that. And I went to Tractor. Tractor worked like a charm. Even
Right.
though Serato would read, it said I had corrupt files, but Tractor read and never said I had one corrupt file.
Right.
So, it's so weird that one software reads, your files this way, one software reads your files this way, one software reads your files different way. So
Right.
it's not consistent.
Well, because the softwares, all the softwares, the way they're developing these softwares, they're assuming that your files are good, so that you're not renaming an executable file MP3 and then putting it in through the database, and when
Right.
the database gets imported, or the program reads to create the database, it's going to corrupt the file, because it's like saying, well, this is supposed to be an MP3, but I don't, it doesn't look like an MP3, so I get a buffer underrun or whatever you want to call it, and it quits. um,
Hmm.
me as an old programmer, what I would have done is I would have created two pieces of software. One software that only reads your hard drive. You basically say, hey, this is the folder. I want you to go through all of these files, and I want you to tell me if there's any of these files you're going to have a problem with.
Right.
Because it could do that. It could just say, hey, I don't recognize this file. Or I don't know what's wrong with this file. So let me, without repeating myself again, let me tell you that there's a problem with this file, and then fix it, run the program again, or even give you an option to delete the file, you know,
Correct.
or put it in another folder that
Hmm.
says, these files, I don't know what they are. I can't open them. And then after you're done with that, where it says it gives you 100%, then you can go in and import it into either Serato, Tractor, or Engine, or whatever software it might be. I think that's the way, that's the solution I would have taken.
Right.
But no, they want you to use the one software. Everything's built in that one software. And then when something happens, there goes two DJs that don't use their software because it doesn't work, and
And
it's
it's also
software.
lacking. I mean, we're already so used to Serato and everything, and the engine is still lacking. It's not even
Right,
up to par with Serato,
right,
first of all,
right,
or even Virtual DJ. Record
right.
Box. I mean, I've tried it before when they did the free trial a long time ago when
Hmm.
it first announced, and I hated it from the start.
Right.
And who knows if engine's any better,
Right,
you
and
know.
this happens to early adopters. It's a new controller, it's a new technology, and you buy the first version of the unit, you're gonna run into problems, and this is exactly what's happening. You were an early adopter, you bought it, and guess what? Now all the problems that comes with it, you're gonna discover, and not until they're all addressed, you're not gonna be happy with it.
Right.
Because I just
I mean,
don't.
I I've
Yeah,
I have a friend of mine that has the Prime 4. He lives in a different state, and he uses Engine. He says that he's never had an issue, but he
right,
didn't come from Serato. He came from and he built his library in Engine and everything like that. So
right,
it's different,
right.
you know.
Right,
But
but remember that, and that's okay. And I'm not knocking Denon completely, meaning that their software is useless. All I'm saying is that for existing DJs, usually the person that is buying that controller is usually a professional, or maybe it could be your first controller. I mean, if you have that type of money to spend on a controller, um, and they should address that. They should address that, because
I
people like you need to use the hardware you bought the right way, not use a
correct.
third party software.
No, I agree, and I hope and I believe that Serato will hopefully be integrated into the controller somehow, where
Yeah.
you don't have to use a computer, where your hard drive will automatically you get do a firmware update or whatever, and you plug in your hard drive to the controller and it works.
Right. Well, those things are going to be like licensing issues. So if Denon and Serato, I don't know if you noticed, but anything that's Serato compatible has
Hmm.
the word Serato in it,
Right.
on the hardware. So it either has a hardware key where it knows that unit has a license. Like, say
Right.
your Pioneer DDJ SX 2, 3,
Hmm.
and 1, I believe. The SB SR2, which I have, as soon as you plug it in, it converts the software from regular software to the pro version without purchasing it.
Right.
So, maybe they'll have a club, Serato club, that will support Denon. But then again, this is one of those things where you have to understand that Denon wants people to use Engine.
course.
The main goal is for everybody that uses, oh my God, DJ Decade just bought Prime 4. Now I got to switch over, and Engine's the best thing,
Right.
kind of like what, Serato. I mean, Serato is just a software. It's
Yeah.
lacking a lot of features. Um,
Engines like a lot more than Serato is, trust me.
right, but it does work. And it's really honestly the only software that I've used. I mean, I've played around with the other software, but Serato, for what I do, it works. But it is
Right.
lacking lots of features.
Like what? What would you say it's lacking
Well,
for you?
that would be another podcast.
Okay.
We can go into
Okay.
what's lacking in Serato. But I want to keep this to the Prime 4. Um,
Okay.
well, I guess let's see. We're at 16 minutes. That's not too bad for a little show on the Prime 4. So, is there any other things you want to say about the Prime 4? Good or bad?
I mean, I love the unit. I mean, the unit's great. It's built well. I mean, the performance great. The lights are bright. I mean, so if you're in a dark room, the lights are very bright.
Yeah.
So I mean, you can pretty much see everything. I like the fact that you can customize it. You can put once you start using Engine, you can put your logo inside the jog wheels or any kind of picture you want inside the jog wheels.
Okay.
You can change the colors of the rim around the jog wheels to different colors. So one
Okay.
could be red, one could be yellow or blue, whatever you want to change
So
it.
you could
Um,
customize the colors and stuff.
yeah, so it's
Okay.
cool.
And I
That's
know you've only had it for a couple of weeks, so it's not like you know all the features and everything and what's lacking from it. But you do like the unit
I love the unit. I mean,
as of now.
one thing that I was missing on my SX3 was pitch bend.
Okay.
I didn't have there was no pitch bend on the SX3.
Right.
This has pitch bend, it has beat jump, it has, all the different, features, has,
Right.
full effects, even though it's Serato effects, they're not engine effects.
Right.
Um,
Right.
but so far, I mean, the control has been a workhorse from when I've been using it.
Got you.
It's heavy, yeah, but I mean, it's worth it.
All right. Well, guys, if you have any comments, and this is going out to the YouTube world and wherever you're seeing this video, if you have the Prime 4, you're having issues with either engine or whatever, please leave a comment on the comment field. That way we could talk about it in other shows. And if you guys want to be a host or a co-host here at the DJ Talk Show, let me know. We can talk about anything in the music industry, DJ industry, mobile club, bar, managers, anything. It doesn't matter what it is as long as the DJ's involved. We want to hear from you. So leave a comment, say, hey, I want to be on the show. And make sure you guys share the video. DJ Decade, thanks once again for joining us here at the DJ Talk
Always,
Show.
man. Thank you.
All right, buddy. I will see you soon.
Yep. Take care, buddy.
All right, guys. Have fun.